Hello and welcome to my video. I'm a spiritual priestess, a shamaness. I am a walk-in soul. I am a claircognizant, a visionary psychic, a telepathic psychic, a premonition psychic. I am a claircognizant, clairsentient, as I've just said, a visionary as well as an empath, and I'm a spiritual teacher, and I know how to read auras, and I was blessed and gifted with gifts from the divine. I'm a divine feminine. So today we are clearing away the year of the snake. This is the last day, and we're going to use our shaman rattles and we're going to clear. And I want to talk about transitioning from the snake shedding to the fire horse. So tomorrow, February 17th, is the fire horse, to the point where the snake, we shed old patterns, old habits, old cycles, old karmic cycles, old circumstances, old toxic people, maybe like jobs that, weren't serving our higher purpose, maybe, just changing jobs, old, cycles that you outgrew. You shed a lot of your old skin. You went through ego death after ego death after ego death. Maybe some of you had spiritually awakened and evolved. So that was the year of the snake. And today is probably going to be a difficult, heavy day as we finish out cleansing and clearing. The snake will make you shed everything, to the point where you have to shed even your old people, the people you thought were your soul tribe, but you outgrew them and you outgrew those relationships, and now you're charging ahead, and as we enter the fire horse. So the fire horse is forward movement, momentum. The fire horse brings action. The fire horse brings truth to the surface, as well as any types of archonic manipulation or hooks. It brings all that darkness, all of that heaviness, and it brings it up to the surface, to where you become aware and you become, glowing up. You have your glow up and your divine goddess energy back to you, to the point where you start living in your truth, your divine purpose. Okay, so this is a very important year. So we're gonna just blow away any old remnants of energy vampires, toxic people, toxic masculinity, liars, manipulators, abusers, narcopaths, narcissists, your alpha boss who's extremely toxic, that reptilian in your church, whatever. So we are going to clear all of this out now, and we're blowing this away. We're going to clear all of their negative energy projections, maybe a lot of their manipulations, their lies, the thought pushers, the people who try to use, words as power and try to twist the truth and make lies the truth. So thought pushers, there's other people who use their gifts for the worst of mankind, to the point where, instead of doing something good from their own potential, instead of, they actually end up engaging in self-sabotaging behaviors, to where they don't know how to heal from something, or they're sabotaging themselves, and they're so focused on everybody else, and they're not improving, or they're not fulfilling goals or their life purpose. So they're constantly sucking the chi life force energy out of others, or whether they project, a bad aura or like the evil eye onto you. It's an unhealed wound. So it's like a toxic wounding that they learned growing up from their adolescence or wherever, So right now we're just going to be pulling this out, and they will sabotage not only themselves, but they'll sabotage a lot of their future lives, to where they're setting themselves up for really bad karma and dharma, and these cyclical karmic relationships that they're going to have to just keep repeating until they really, get busted wide open in their soul and they start awakening, which sometimes it takes a lot of lifetimes. A lot of people don't realize that they repeat the same karmic circles or same soul tribes. You reincarnate with the same souls, to the point where that cousin could be your brother in your next life, or that mother could have been your ex-girlfriend in a past life, or your girlfriend in this life could be your aunt in the next life. I mean, it's like your soul tribe, and it goes with you. So I'm a Reiki master teacher, I'm a spiritual healer, and I clear out these cords, to the point where if you don't feel comfortable reincarnating with another soul, that same soul from a past life in your next life, this is where we cut. Okay, so right now I'm just going to take, maybe it could be even from this life, a toxic boss, toxic coworkers, maybe it's people in your bloodline, to the point where it's so affected by generational curses, because there's something called generational hate, and there's hate bonding, and then there's narcissists in this generational hate, which is connected to the generational curse, to where you want to be broken free from it, but these people and their energy, they keep calling you back. They keep calling you back to a familiar place, and it could have been a place that your soul, was in the afterlife, or you were with these people in a past life, but it's like a new life now, so you keep coming back to that same place, and it feels very toxic and cyclical, and it feels very like it's heavy, and they project like negative energy on you, and you still don't know why you go back. So like, this is a karmic cycle that you need to not repeat and break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beautiful black tourmaline, and I'm going to start pulling and cutting. So this is aimed for any karmics in your life from past lifetimes. This could be soul ties. This could be a toxic brother, a toxic father, a toxic mother, a toxic cousin, a toxic ex. This could be, toxic coworkers. Maybe it's a friend group. Maybe it's a frenemy, to the point where they're toxic narcissists, and maybe they are so insecure inside, to the point where they project on you and they gang up on you in groups, and it's called hate bonding, and it's connected to a generational curse in the bloodline, or even a generational curse of the individual who's targeting you and bullying you. That person has likely unhealed wounds, to the point where they can't shed their old selves, and they're caught up in this ego. They don't know how to shed ego deaths, or maybe they can't feel because they're so numb inside from the pain. So they project this cool air about them, like everything seems together, but then they self-medicate. They engage in alcoholism or unhealthy like sex practices, like addictions. So these people, they often hide behind masks, and they push down their trauma, and they live life on a very superficial level, to the point where they learn to kind of lead a double life. So where they live, life through a mask, and then they end up projecting their pain from inside of them into their circles, and they don't even realize it. So like, if you want to break these habits, I am a Reiki master teacher. I'm an energy healer, and I know how to cut cords. Okay, I am certified in Yusai Reiki in 2019, and I just got certified in Fire Reiki from my mentor a couple weekends ago, this year in 2026. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my selenite, and I'm going to put some Reiki into you now, because I feel like we need to do like an aura fluff. Okay, and then after this, we're going to be cutting cords as well. So like, if you have any unhealed wounds, or if you feel like you have habits you need to shed, today is a great day to let this go. You could write something down on a piece of paper and burn it, and watch the wind blow it away. There's many ways. You could get 2 black candles, or a black and a white candle. You could write your intention. Okay, I wish to separate myself from so-and-so, and their name and their birthday or their picture. Connect a red string to it, burn the string, and then it'll connect to the candles, to the point where it'll, if you feel like you can't get away from a situation or a circumstance, you also can, there's many ways to set yourself free, to where you can journal this. You could do vision boards. It's not always, you don't always have to stay somewhere where you're, uncomfortable, or where you feel like people are calling you back in energy to suck your chi life force energy, but yet they hate you on a daily basis. It's extremely toxic, and it's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your physical vessel. It's not good for your spiritual vessel. It's not good for your aura. So now I'm going to just be cutting these cords. We're going to be cleansing out the last remnants of the year of the snake. And the people who don't grow, those are the energy vampires. Those are the ones that stay stagnant. They don't have goals. They focus and they project their negative energy, or their emptiness, their numbness, their depression, or whatever, their heaviness, their anger, their hatred, whether it's just a problem with you, or just stemming from like, an unhealed wound in them. And sometimes they're just like so toxic, to the point where everything is the other person's fault. They don't take accountability. They'll never own up to it. And so these are called toxic narcissists, as well as narcopaths, as well as sociopaths, as well as so narcopaths are narcissists with traits of sociopathy, and they're very sadistic and masochistic to the point where they'll be energy vampires. And what they do is they weren't born with a source light or a god light to where they will feed off your energy. So it's like a power plug, and they plug into your auric energy, your soul chi life force, and then they suck your good energy that you're used to using for creating, sending emails, working, or creating in your home business or creating candles or whatever you do, and then they suck that energy to the point where you feel drained, you don't feel like doing anything, you feel unmotivated, and it's an interchange of energy to where you take on their hate and their anger, and then they're like walking around happy and laughing all the time, whether it's like, okay, maybe they could have a personality disorder, and they're very they lack emotional intelligence to where they're very immature, they're not an old soul, they're a new soul, so they're learning, so they laugh about everything pointless, and there's just no meaning in their life. They just kind of live on the surface. Or some of them are just really deeply wounded from an adolescent trauma growing up, or neglect from their caregivers, or abandonment from their fathers or whatever, or their grandparents, to the point where they end up self-medicating, and then they end up hate bonding, and then they end up projecting these wounds instead of healing themselves, and then not focusing on their goals and their life purpose, and to where they just kind of float by, but then they put everything on one person. So they scapegoat the person, and then that person just gets attacked and picked on by everyone, and that person is just what the fuck, and then they're living their lives. So this is the last day of the shedding of the snake, to where if you are a toxic person and you have unhealed wounds, I deeply encourage you to do talk therapy. Yes, do energy work, energy clearing, journal, exercise, own up to the things and release things that you can't control. If you find yourself harboring ill will against another person, if you're jealous of them, if you're secretly competing, if someone doesn't you cannot intimidate them into liking you or acting a certain way, to controlling their whole life, just because they sense something in you that you need to heal that's toxic. Okay, instead of projecting hatred and anger and hostility and animosity and all of these ego emotions, it's time to heal that wound in you. Maybe they trigger unhealed wounds in you because you're the toxic one. So it's time to heal. So this year of the snake, we're shedding old habits, old people, old patterns, karmic cycles, karmics, whether it's karmic contracts, old business partners, cyclical karmic people who were once your soul tribe in many lifetimes ago, but now, you guys don't like each other anymore. There's no point in prolonging that cord. So this is where I come in and I cut this, okay? I'm going to take my jade and I'm going to cut all of this away. No one has the right to feed on your energy. No one has the right to take your goddess divine birthright. No one has the right to feed off of your energy. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. They have no right to literally intrude on your own auric energy. They have no right to ruin your life. They have no obligation. You have no obligation to them. They have no right to try to steal your joy. They have no right to try to sabotage you. They have no right to create obstacles and problems and blockages in your life. So where now the snake is clearing out all of this. And we are going to clear out these projections. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start snapping these energy away. And then we're going to start cutting. Okay, and then you will hear live examples of snakes in the background today. This is just energy vampires. Snakes in the grass, people who have ill will intentions towards you, hatred towards you, harboring negative energy, projecting their hatred onto you, to the point where they will end up pulling in other people who they fucking feel threatened, seeing them love you a certain way, and they'll be deeply wounded and deeply jealous that they will try to turn these people against you because they're insecure. And there's nothing you could really do except for protect your energy and declare your energetic boundaries, and allow me to cut, as well as to physically move away from toxic energy vampires. There will never be an energy vampire that's going to be a positive person. They're energy vampires, so they need to leech off the energy. Energy vampires, they won't even like you. but they need an energy source, so they'll hang out with you to get that energy so they could be productive, because they don't have their own light, they don't have their own source energy, to the point where they won't even understand, like, why the fuck do I keep calling these people up? Okay, well, because you're an energy vampire and you need someone's energy, and this is why you do it. They won't even like the people that they talk to on the phone or the people in their beds. They just literally do it because they're siphoning energy from that person. And it's sad. And it's like, I don't think energy vampires can heal, because their main purpose in life is to just siphon other people's chi life force, to the point where when like shit gets real for them and they start really going through the ebbs and flows of like the real life, like reality, that's like the only, where they can realize things. And then from there, they might be able to heal, but they're energy vampires, to the point where they'll always intrude in your territory. They'll always try to take what's not theirs, destiny swapping, taking what's yours. They'll try to sabotage, like, everything for you. They'll try to wish harm on your love life. They'll try to, do witchcraft. Like, literally, I had an energy vampire go and put witchcraft in my mother's toilet against me when she was on an Asian cruise. I mean, I heard them, talking, because the walls are so thin, saying, oh, the tables have turned, they're yonder. And, they were doing witchcraft on me, and I knew that they were doing witchcraft on me. And it was just like, energy vampires will be very sneaky like snakes. So, like, this is the year of the horse. So we're clearing out the snakes, the sneaky snakes, and we're clearing out all that bullshit that they thought they could project on us. They blocked our love lives for a long time. They wished us ill will. Their hatred before, in the past, may have manifested, but now, the year of the horse, are breaking up all of these dark karmic contracts and bringing these shadows, these energy parasites, these energy leeches, these energy vampires. They're bringing them up to the surface, to the point where they're becoming exposed. Okay, so the horse is charging, and he's gonna be here tomorrow. The year of the horse, the Chinese zodiac, to where the horse is forward momentum. The horse will illuminate the darkness. All of their plots and plans against you, it will be shattered. Their whole facade, their whole lives are basically going to be wrecked, because they basically lived their life to steal your destiny and your birthright, and to try to sabotage what wasn't theirs to sabotage, and wrongfully destiny swap you. So this is what energy vampires do. That's the only purpose they have. They don't have goals. They live life on the surface. They literally live life to be jealous of you, be secret competition with you, or to try to ruin something of yours and then take what's not rightfully theirs, because, they don't have a divine anything. They're not divine feminine. They're not divine masculine. They don't have divinity in them. They're not born of source light. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use Archangel Metatron, okay, to clear out all of this darkness. And he's going to cut away negative remnants of negative energy vampires and what they took from you in the past. Maybe they blocked you at work. Maybe they blocked your career. Maybe they blocked your business. Maybe they wished you ill will in your health. Maybe they did spells to, have detrimental. My energy vampires, they even tried to put death spells on me. They had me in the streets. I freaking literally defied everything, to the point where I had, people wishing on me that I would live on a stairwell in my car. They were hating me so bad. They were hating, just hate bonding on me and wishing me and my kids, like, living in a shelter. They tried to. We beat that. My child, one of them, tried to do a death spell on Ariana. She is my second child, my first daughter, to where she had tumors. That one also somehow put tumors in a dog. Then my daughter beat it. Then that one fucking tried to attack my baby, to the point where, like, my baby was so strong, he beat all of the fucking chemicals. He beat, the death spells that, that energy vampire tried to do, to the point where, my son is very strong. He is a very strong spirit, and so is my daughter, because, they're divine children. They're not from darkness like energy vampires. They're not from the void. They're not from, when you're an energy vampire, you're not divine anything. You just fucking simply exist to suck the chi life force energy from, a divine being, goddess incarnate, or, it's just nothing. It's just nothing there. It's just like slimy snake in the grass energy, like taking what's not rightfully yours. So we need to call our power back, and we need to, use our energy and our goddess birthright and our power back to fight the good fight, to the point where they will try to ruin your whole life. They will try to turn the people that they see love you against you. They'll try to archonically implant spiritual parasites in that person's head about you. They will try to lie on your character. They will try to gaslight you, and they will also try to make up stories, false narratives about you, to the point where, it's really their harmful energy, and they'll project all of that onto your character, to where they'll make you look bad and they'll look like the innocent one. They're snakes. So this is what energy vampires do. So I'm just going to kind of go around and do energy cleanse in here. Okay, because I need to do this. And so they live their life very much on the surface level, and then they suck your chi life force energy, and then they know you don't, they know that you see something very negative in them, to the point where they will intrude on you. So what they will do is if it's not their property, they'll try to like slowly take over your life and what's really not theirs. So it's called a destiny swap, and they'll try to destiny swap your whole life, to the point where at this point you're just like, fuck, like they know they sense that you see the truth in them, and then it makes them try to siphon that chi life force energy in groups. So, and you'll never see an energy vampire fight alone. They're weak. They have to move in groups like snakes. Okay, you'll only see them gang up in groups like bullies, and then you'll see them scapegoat somebody. So like if somebody's being abused, chances are that person's being scapegoated and targeted by a group of energy vampire narcissists, sociopaths, to the point where, I don't know if you've seen that series called Euphoria, to the point where there's this very toxic masculine in Euphoria, and he hides behind being a jock in high school. He hides behind all of these secret relationships. He's got like one divine feminine, Maddie, and she calls it and tells it like it is. And then he's got his karmic, her best friend, Cassie. And then he's got a secret relationship stemming from his dad. He has got father wounds, and then that he's got a secret relationship with a transgender, Jules, to the point where he really falls for Jules, like emotionally attachment. He uses Maddie for like more, for his image, because she's like the beautiful, strong, divine feminine. I'm not sure if she was a cheerleader, but he uses her for that false image that he's hiding behind. So this is how energy vampires operate, okay? They have to basically lead double lives, or they don't have a purpose, or they have unhealed wounds from their caregivers growing up, to the point where they'll start self-medicating. They'll be very violent. And seen in Euphoria, he's at a high school party, and he is raging, saying, "Everyone get out!" And he has his shirt off, and then he hides behind like weightlifting, and then there's like a play scene to where like Cassie's sister, his karmic sister, like does a whole segment on him, and like all the girls, like Maddie, Cassie, Rue, and just like, everyone, and like they, so he gets exposed, he gets really humiliated. So this is kind of like, I'm using this example as, this is what we're going into now. We're going into the year of the horse, to where all of these falsities, and it's not vindictive. This is just much needed. It's clearing. All of these false people, the masks, the facades that they wear, wolves in sheep's clothing, or so on and so forth. All of this is going to be brought to light. And a lot of divine feminines and divine masculines, we were tested and tried by a lot of these dark karmic witches, okay? So a lot of them are dark karmics. A lot of them, are Satan's sons, to the point where they're just pure darkness and snakes, and they know how to manipulate, to the point where, they use this manipulation to turn adversaries onto you, so they're able to hide behind their masks and keep getting away with living a false life and putting all the heat onto you, and they're not owning up to anything. So like they're able to hide and keep being enabled in that false superficial life behind that mask that they're putting up to the world. It's not true, it's not authentic, there's no truth, there's no light there. It's just darkness, because they feel so insecure to the point where they don't know how to be authentic. They just hide behind this, because what would that do to their egos? You know what I mean? They're very fragile egos. It would kill them. It would kill their whole lives. To where, like, a lot of them, they'll try to ruin your whole life, but the whole time they're trying to really hide what's inside them and project it onto you, so they don't have to face all the skeletons in their closets or their trauma. And so it's easier for them to use projection tactics, so they can hide behind that mask, like how Nate Jacobs hides behind that mask. Like, he is like the prime example of like toxic masculinity, but he knows he has issues. Like his father was, gay, and he is deeply like affected by this, and so he uses the relationship with Maddie and Cassie to kind of hide his truth behind, it's like the mask he wears, and it's like a double life. And when you watch it, you really see that he gets emotionally engulfed with Jules, who's a transgender. And he really, like, he meets her in the park one day, and he's like, I really feel this way. And she's hesitant because she sees who it is, and she knows how he really is. Like, he's really masculine and aggressive, because she saw him at the party, and she knows about all these things that he did to Maddie. Like, he squeezed her neck, and he was really aggressive and trying to control Maddie. He even like held a gun to like, his girlfriend, and all of this stuff, to where when he meets Jules, the transgender, in the park, she's like, I can't trust you. Like, she's very hesitant. She's afraid. She's fearful, because she knows, like, how he is. So this is what we're going into. We're going into the year of the horse. We're charging ahead. We're taking action. The horse is forward movement. It's momentum. It's illuminating those shadows, that darkness, those masks. It's destroying and shattering illusions. It's shattering the darkness. It's shattering manipulation, shattering lies, shattering, name and character assassination and defamation. It's shattering narcissistic triangulation, abuse campaigns. It's shattering all of this. So right now, this is the very last day of the year of the snake. So, today a lot of things might happen. Like, my day was Friday the 13th. My earring back fell off in the parking lot. I was leaving a store, and it was like clear, and I knew I couldn't find it, but I have backup earrings, and luckily. And then what else happened? Like, it was just like boom, 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 like one thing after another. Oh, I dropped my scissors that I bought on the walk home, and then I had to like eat and then go back and trace my steps, but I found them. So like little things like that. And this is exactly what energy vampires do to operate. They'll be very subtle in their attacks to you. So like an example of an energy vampire attack, or a spirit entity attack, or a spirit attachment that's in, like, if you have a spirit attachment that's in a body that you live with, like, just say, like, you have a brother, hypothetically, and he's got a spirit attachment from his girlfriend that he was seeing, and she was working at, I don't know, a darker club, or maybe she was into dark arts with Baphomet. So then now that spirit is going to be in you and attached to you. It's going to be attached to you to the point where you open up your sacred, sacral chakra. You use those sacred energy exchange cords, and now that spirit attachment in that person is into you. So like, see how this spreads. So then you start acting out of character, and you start getting influence, and it's not even really your fault, because you didn't ask for the spirit attachment, and you don't even know that you have it. And then sometimes you feel just so dark and you don't feel like yourself. Chances are that you have spirit attachments. Some people were born with spirit attachments from the Alpha Draconian realms, or the reptilian realms. Some people will have, they'll have reptilian bloodlines, or they won't have reptilian bloodlines, to where they'll sell their souls. They'll be sellouts for, money, that car, that house, the bills paid, unlimited vacations, whatever. And then you invite this darker entity, and it shapeshifts your eyes to the point where you're now reptilian because you sold out. And then, just say like you have someone else in your bloodline, and then they come, and then they're Alpha Draconian. So then like the Alpha Draconian and the reptilian, they bond, and then they hate bond, and then they scapegoat one person who's of the light. So like, it doesn't always necessarily have to be like angels and demons. It could be starseed wars. Like, if you're a Lemurian starseed, you could have a reptilian uncle, and he could be wicked as hell and ruin He could go spit in the jars of your pickles or your jam in the fridge, or he could spit in your pot on the stove. Like, it would be wicked, nasty plots like that. Like, it'll be like playing in your face, or like breaking into your room, breaking and entering, going into your room, your things go missing, or your things being moved around like they're fucking with you, or them invading you in your space, your personal sacred space, to the point where they know you don't, they know that you fucking see, the truth in them, and then they're so deeply insecure that they try to stay there and prolong their presence and intrude on your sacred space, to the point where they're just so immature and they have to suck your chi life force energy because they don't have a purpose. They have no goals. They have no light. So then therefore they have to suck into you and siphon your energy. And then they take your good energy that you're supposed to use to do, like, faxing, say you work at the office or whatever, and then you end up feeling heavy or drained or tired or depressed or anxious or angry or hostile, and then you feel like you want to start taking on their energies, but you're subconsciously like, what the fuck is going on? This is not me. This is not my character. So you start drinking, or you start engaging in sexual activities, and you start eating steak, and then it was like the whole time it wasn't even your energy. It was, you were fucking doing this because you were an empath sponge, and you were sponging the energy of an energy vampire, and it's like an exchange of energy. So like, you have to really be conscious of who you let in your life, who you let in your circle, who you let in your sacred space, who you're around, who not only you talk to, yes, who you listen to on the phone, because that person can have wicked spirit attachments. They could have bad ulterior motives, bad intentions. Everything is an energy, even intention. So let's talk about evil eyes. People like this, like snakes in the grass, evil manipulators, they will have ulterior motives, to the point where they will fucking go out of their way to ruin your whole fucking life. They'll be behind your back, talking to your boss, talking to your mother, trying to put negative projections in these people's heads so they could, keep hiding behind their mask, like Nate Jacobs, right? Just like as an example. And then they could put the trouble on your character and then defame your name and character assassinate you. And then before you know it, the person they're telling shares that same negative connotation outlook, like you're the villain, to the point where now your shit's getting stolen, your shit's getting tampered with, you're getting bullied, your name's in people's conversations, you're the product or the target, if you will, of attacks, to the point where this is negative, archonic, reptilian, and alpha draconian projections. So you need to be aware of, okay, who do I keep in my sacred space? Okay, should I tell this person something? Should they know anything? No, you can't tell energy vampires shit, because they'll use that against you, and they'll also use it to have their own ulterior motives, to where they will suck your chi life force energy and you won't be productive, or they'll keep you stuck. So what they do is they'll intrude on your environment, and then they'll keep you blocked from like a job interview, or maybe they'll wish harm on you in your soulmate relationship to where you break up, you know what I'm saying? And like things like this, or like maybe they'll do death spells on you, and then you'll get hit in your health really bad, and then you have to heal from this. So this is why when we talk, and when we get up every morning, when we go to sleep at night, we need to have a clear heart. We need to have good intentions in our minds and our hearts. We have to go to sleep with a good conscience. So all of this is intention. Okay. And so like a lot of us on the spiritually evolved path, we used to be toxic before, or we were from a toxic bloodline, or we were from toxic people, or we were from karmic connections. So we've awakened, we're aware, we evolved, we changed, we've had many ego deaths, we've healed. So now it's like, we've had a starseed calling, or we're a goddess incarnate. We've had many spiritual deaths and, ego deaths and spiritual awakenings, and we've been chosen for this. So, a lot of us are waking up, and we are being called into our divine power from all of the lessons and all of the heaviness, and we're here to now clear. So this is why I got certified in Reiki, both Yusai Reiki and Fire Reiki. I'm a Fire Reiki master healer teacher, to the point where energy is so real. It could be from an evil eye like this, in which this is a Shiva's eye gate. I could clear out, because I'm certified. I've gotten attuned to Reiki. And I have my teacher, my Yusai Reiki master teacher certifications. I got 2 of those in 2019. And then I have my Fire Reiki master certification this year. So Right now I'm going to be just using my smoky amethyst, because smoky amethyst is really good to clear out all of these negative energy projections. And what I'm going to do is, I have a lot of these. I'm going to just take this and just cut and chop off any like projections. Maybe, you know, you were at work and like maybe you were the target of someone's gossip, and there's an energy vampire there who, you know, they are jealous of you, and then they start doing a smear campaign on your name, and they try to defame your name and character assassinate you, and then before you know it, it's like you're hearing these little rumors and these lies that aren't even true, or maybe they dug something up from your past that you're just like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, why is this even relevant to now? Like, I outgrew versions of myself, but they're using this, and they're using this energetic cord to try to keep that alive, to the point where they're trying to ruin like your character, or you know, the way you look in everyone else's eyes, and to the point where they're trying to ruin your life. And this happens in workplaces all the time. It happens in bloodlines, generational curses, families, like generational curses in families and bloodlines, to where like people will hate bond on one person, and that person will be the awakened one. That person will be the one that was born to break these generational curses, because it's always that one person, you know, that gets spiritually awakened and kind of pushed around, to the point where they start spiritually evolving, and they start really becoming aware of their truth, the truth around them, seeing people and their souls and their intentions for who they really, you know, and what they truly are. And so this person is now on a spiritual awakened path, to the point where the divine wakes you up and cracks you open, and it's like, okay, like now I'm calling you to, you're going to heal your bloodline, or you are the healer. You're going to heal masses of people. You're going to have a spiritual starseed awakening. You're going to see through the energy vampire crap of heaviness and shit that they just fucking spew out of their fucking asses, and you're going to break the mold. Like, you're the chosen one, you know what I mean? You're going to see through all that bullshit, all the facades, all the lies. Just like Maddie saw it in Nate. She saw it, and she was exposing him in the hot tub, you know. And this is the year of the fire horse, to where all of that bullshit, all of that darkness, all of those lies, all those character assassinations, all those setups, those plots, those ploys, those plans against you, all that darkness and that heaviness and that animosity, that hate bonding, and every negative thing that was spoken on your name or whatever, it's going to be busted open. Everything is going to be light. It's illuminated now. So, and then energy vampires, they'll stay around you to gather your energy. They'll hate you. They will talk about you all day. They'll try to fucking overthrow your whole life, to the point where, but they still stay around you. Like, that's a very toxic cord. So this is how you know they're energy vampires. So where like they'll be like energy feeders, like bottom feeders, and they'll intrude on your you know, your environment. They'll intrude on your sacred space. They'll try to disrupt and cause chaos, like just chaotic, like over the top, you know. And so now we have to clear this. So I'm gonna just be using more of this, because we're gonna take out this heaviness. We're going to take out all these falsities, these karmic cords, the masks, all the manipulation, the hatred, the animosity, all the hostility, hate bonding. You know, if they scapegoated you, if they targeted you, if they talked down on your name, text about you, if they plot on you, if they've done bad things to anything and any of your personal belongings, just know that you have rights. Yes, I could energy clear all day, but you're going to have to go and take matters into your own hands, to the point where you're going to have to, you know, protect yourself. Like, you're going to have to really just start protecting yourself and protecting your energy and protecting your belongings, your sacred space. Like, you could put a lock on the door. That doesn't matter. Energy vampires will fucking unlock that door and get through that door, and they'll still fuck with your stuff. Like, that's energy vampires, okay? You need to literally start protecting yourself, to the point where you need to put secret cameras in, so when they do break and enter, you can show this to the authorities. Because at this point, you know, you're not going to be pushed around. You're going to stand up, and you're sovereignty. Okay, so now I'm going to clear out any type of negative energy projections in your throat chakra. I have to find my iolite. Here he is. So now I'm going to just cut a little cord out of your throat chakra. I'm going to make this little intention, and I'm going to cut, and I'm going to pull, and there we go. And now I'm going to tap. So now you're going to get a crystal, and you're going to say, I call all of my throat chakra truth energy my communication and my power back to me from energy vampires who have stolen my power from my throat chakra. So they tried to suppress my voice so I couldn't use it to stand up for myself and speak my truth. I call all of my power back to me, back to my throat chakra. It is mine, it is my God and my goddess birthright. I call my power and my energy back to my throat chakra and my physical vessel, as well as my throat chakra, spiritual system. It's balanced, and I'm clear, and I am fortified this energetic boundary to where no energy vampire can siphon my throat chakra energy or my auric energy. My boundaries are fortified. This is me, that is them. 3 times 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. So what we need to do is we need to just you have to try really hard to kind of just mentally block energy vampires out, because they will always try to ruin you or try to they'll try to rage bait you is what they'll do. So they'll try to produce a reaction to where you get frustrated or upset, to where they will take that energy and they'll feed and they'll use that energy to, I don't know, fucking read a book, or go, they don't even read books probably, but they'll use it to go hang out with other people and go about their day, because they're energy vampires. So they always need to constantly be attached to somebody, whether it's on the phone or in groups of people talking shit about someone. They don't use their energy productively. They don't know how to be alone. They make fun of people who are intellectuals, who, they look down on people who actually enjoyed solace and solitude, and then they make fun of them because they're so egoistic and they're so egocentric, to the point where they're so shallow and they live their life by the surface, like Nate Jacobs, or behind a mask, to the point where they have to be surrounded by these superficial groups and these archonic groups who believe in just falsity, just bullshit. It's just their whole lives are built on bullshit, and to the point where I can't even stress how bad they will try to go to great lengths to ruin your lives and ruin your things and your personal belongings or your character. This is what energy vampires do. They thrive off of that negativity. They thrive off of your anger, your upset, your god rage, your goddess rage. They thrive off of your happiness. Any type of energy and any emotion you show them, they will feed off of you. Okay? Nobody has the right to feed on you. Nobody does. So now we are going to take this, and we are going to, it acts as a magnet, and it's going to clear out any energy vampire pollutants, EMF, radioactive, negative energy. And we're going to take my black tourmaline, and like I said, this acts as a magnet. It pulls, and I'm going to cut. It cuts. You'll hear live examples of energy vampires in the background, to the point where you'll hear them try to sabotage my videos, and I just keep going at this point. It took me 40 years to figure out how to handle them, to the point where you just have to block them out at this point and just be like, okay, that's your problem with me, that's not my problem. You ain't shit. Just like how you fucking treat my shit, my kids and me, then you ain't shit to me then, if that's how you want to treat me. And it's kind of just fuck you, and it's bye. It's stay over there, get away from me. And then what they do is they'll try to fucking go into your dream states. So now we're going to clear out your dream states, okay? So what we need to do is we're going to take these dream amethysts, these Uruguayan amethysts, and I'm going to start pulling from your dream states. First, I need to make a little incision in your pineal gland chakra, which is your third eye. And energetically, it's not going to hit you physically. It's not going to hurt you physically. This is just to clear. So when they go into your dream states, you'll be sleeping. You won't be fully conscious. And they will try to astral project to you. And they'll try to use their negative energy vampire dark cords. And a lot of energy vampires have negative spirit attachments to the jinn realm, or to Satan, to the point where they will literally be attached to this dark energy, or to Baphomet. And I hate to say this, to where they will fucking sell their souls, or they'll do these blood rituals to where they'll sacrifice their own bloods to these darker entities, and then therefore they are making a pact with this entity to gain whatever in exchange for power, fame, money, friends, people liking them, them being able to easily influence the world in these little subliminals, to the point where it's sickening, because then they gain this false power behind these dark entities. And what they do is they're basically you know, since they don't have a God light, they're basically just condemning their karma and their souls, and they're just like producing this negative karmic cord that's going to follow them not only into years of their current life, but the afterlife and the range of like 100 of their next lives. They're creating bad karma, and the spirit attachment will keep being attached to them and make them do darker things. Like their energy will change, they'll shift. You'll see this in their eyes. Sometimes if you look in their eyes, they'll have like a little slit right here. That's like the alpha draconians. And some of them, their eyes will change like chameleon. Like, have you seen the lizards? They'll be like a bluish gray or like a yellow green. I've seen this in my ex, okay? He was a reptilian, and literally, luckily that relationship was like not, it was only a month, but from what I saw from him, like the very last encounter was like we were sitting in his Passat, and his eyes, like they were glowing, like, and there were these like yellowish green rings in his eyes, and I saw them like the last two times, and we were just talking in his car, and then after that, like, we just like fell out of each other's lives. The divine saw what he was about, and he didn't want him to wreak havoc on my life, to the point where the divine set me free. So we're going to go into these dream states because I have amethyst, and we are going to just break any darker archonic projections, karmic cords, alpha draconian reptilian cords. What alpha draconian reptilians do is they try to not really necessarily suck your chi life force energy. Some energy vampires are from those star realms, yes, but just if you are an energy vampire, you don't necessarily have to be a reptilian or an alpha draconian or an alpha reptilian. You could just be an energy vampire born with no divine purpose, no God light, and you're just sucking the chi life force energy of people. And then, depending on how deep your adolescent childhood trauma is, you'll act out of that pain and that wounding to the point where you'll be so hurt, you'll be hurting people, because hurt people hurt people. But for when it's really an archonic agenda of like reptilians or alpha draconians, they have this new world order agenda to the point where they're all about control. They're all about influencing others to follow their wicked plans or agendas. Like, they know how to manipulate you, whether it's thought formed telekinesis manipulation, to the point where they could literally change someone's thoughts about someone else in their minds, or they could negative energy influence someone through their tongue, power of the tongue, to where they shapeshift lies to the truth in that person's mind. So that person is more weak-minded and maybe archonic, maybe they, they're Christian, or they like, they run with groups of people, so they're easily like, they kind of like live life on the surface, to where like they know how it is to like be one way behind closed doors and then hide behind a mask to like everyone else, like, you know what I mean? To where like those types of people are more easily influenced because, they're surrounded by more people and they know how to blend in and act kind of superficial and fake, versus you or me, who's spiritually awakened, who's been separated from the masses of people because we're the chosen ones and we could see through the bullshit because we have gifts and things like this. We don't try to blend in or fit in. We've shed our ego so much. The divine has given us, ego death after ego death and spiritual awakening, to the point where now we have gifts, and now we're really seeing what the world is about, what the alpha draconians and the reptilians are trying to do with the new world order agenda in the cults, which is churches, whether it's Scientology or, the Abrahamic religions like Christianity or Muslim. But I do have to say, the jinn realm of spirits in Muslims, that realm is actually very real. It's connected to a darker, very dark entity, and the jinn could be sometimes good jinn and sometimes bad jinn. So like the bad jinn a long time ago was actually, they're not demons. They're actually, because demons have been demonized, or fallen angels, but they have the ability to shapeshift into like, changing your thoughts about someone or a situation, and like possessing people, to where that's the real demons. So demons in Christianity, they've been demonized to where they were once seraphim angels, or archangels, to the point where they have their fallen angel story and things like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a little bit more of a bath smoke right now, because I feel like, we need to clear this out. So this is Read this right here. Energy vampires hate this. Reptilians hate this. Alpha draconians hate this. Because it clears out their bullshit. If you're really evil and you really hate this, like if you really hate this, read this. If you really hate this, you're evil as fuck. You're wicked. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just do a sage bath, because there's lots of monitoring spirits and energy vampire lurking monitoring spirits to the point where they'll have these darker entity attachments, and they will try to do anything to upset you, to take your energy so they could use it for their normal day-to-day things that they do, whatever they do. Whether it's stampede and walk around and fucking slam doors, or whatever they do, fucking go to the gym, have people on the phone for hours because they're siphoning their energy, or whatever the fuck they do. So this is like, we have to defeat, you know, what they're trying to do. You're not allowing them to take, you know, we're not allowing them to take our divine goddess and God energies. We're not allowing them to, you know, steal our chi life force energies or our life purposes, to the point where they'll try. They'll do everything in their power to try to ruin you. They'll do everything in their power to try to take what's not, you know, theirs. They'll try to take your whole destiny. Some of them will destiny swap you. Some of them will be so jealous of you to where they'll pull a gun on you and shoot you. Like, to the point where, like, jealousy is like the leading #1 reason for homicides and for, you know, it's just ridiculous, like the type of world we really live in. You know, when we grow up and we figure out like the New World Order agenda, the reptilian agenda, and even the motives of our supposedly loved ones who we're supposed to be able to trust and, you know, look to guide us and love us. Some people can just be really wicked in their spirits, or they could be sellouts, and they could change to the point where they end up hate bonding on you and just hating you, to the point where you're just like, bye. So like, it's really like, you know, and I've had this happen to me. I've had to where I had someone come into my life a long time ago. It was actually not my life. It was another family member's life. And literally, he knew that I saw the wickedness in him. He knew that I saw how fake and how false he was. He tried to hide behind Christianity, but he was Satan's son. And I knew this. And then he, you know, put a seed in someone else in the family, and it was 2 seeds, and then it was like one of them was Lucifer's son, born with 3 spirit dark attachments of jinn, and then to where like the jinn and these darker spirits slowly intruded into parasite spirits, to where they hooked in archonically to people who were supposed to be my loved ones and changed their outlooks on me, to where these darker entities were now making the people who I was supposed to love and trust and were supposed to like love and trust and guide me because they were older than me, hate me, and then start fucking attacking me and my things, my children, trying to wish hate on my fucking love life, my career, block my money, block my fucking twin flame, to the point where it was bad. Okay, and I basically had to distance myself and move out many times to protect me and my kids, or I had to lock my thing, even if I locked my things away, you know. So now all of this has been going on now on and off for 31 years. I'm 41 now, okay, believe it or not. And this is the power of the goddess, you know, the chosen one, to the point where everyone's like, what? You don't even look your age. And I'm just like, I don't feel my age. It's just, you know, I'm a goddess incarnate. I have my own story. But I had to go through this because I had to be a spiritual teacher so I can, you know, spiritually acknowledge this for myself and have my own ego deaths and my shadow work I had to work through, because there was a lot of shadow work I had to do, as well as my soul had to bust open. I had to lose fragments of it so I could come and enlighten you guys and spread this goddess awareness, goddess teachings, goddess knowledge, and goddess wisdom to you. Okay, I am a goddess incarnate. I was chosen for this. I did not go out and choose this. I didn't ask for any of this. It just happened. And a lot of it was projections from dark karmic witches. So, and from reptilians and alpha draconians and energy vampires, to the point where I started seeing people for the wicked spirits that they really truly were inside, whether it was seeing reptilian eyes in people I was supposed to love and trust, or just seeing the true intentions and the wickedness of their spirit inside of their physical vessels and their souls, to the point where I was like, okay, now I have to just fucking keep my distance, because now I know what they did to me. And it was a lot of betrayal trauma. It was a lot of fucking jealousy. Most of it was from manipulative females hiding behind religion who were jealous of me. They would hide behind these cults of Christianity and say, oh no, I believe in Jesus, the blood of Jesus. But those same women were, praying to their God and using prayers as spells to pray against my life. And that's also a form of witchcraft, because everything's energy, a thought, a prayer, a word, a spell. Everything is energy, everything. An evil eye, a projection of a thought or a projection of an evil eye. To where, like, with that spirit who projects the evil eye onto you, they could be wickedly jealous of you, and you never know the harboring ill will or the hatred or the competition they secretly try to hide behind and try to come up against your life. I even had energy vampires in my own family wish that I was homeless, and I had them wish that me and my twin flame broke up, and I had them wish that I was single forever, and I had them wish, they had themselves wish this on me, to the point where, I had grown out of old outdated versions of myself, and they were still holding on to this fucking version, and they would use this outdated version of me to validate their hatred and all of their attacks, whether they stole my things or try to turn my kids against me or try to manipulate forces against me to try to damage me in some way, emotionally abuse me, physically abuse me. I've had people try to burn me, literally. So to the point where I'm a goddess incarnate, I knew that my spirit guides got me. Like, I may look alone in solitude, but I have a huge spirit team that guards and protects me, to the point where whoever now comes up against me, my spirit team, they're going to get dealt with. Like, their spirit guides and their whole lives are going to get dealt with, to the point where my spirit guides won't hesitate. They'll go to war on a bitch. They'll go to war on somebody and their whole life, to the point where if they disrespect me and my spirit animals and all my spirit guardians, my starseed, just all of my whole spirit team sees this, my spirit team don't play. My spirit team knows I'm going to go to war on this person because they're not defeating my goddess right here that I'm sent here to protect. And you know what I mean? They're not going to have it. So I'm so very heavily guarded and spiritually protected now at this point in my life. I had surpassed a lot of adversaries and a lot of attacks that dark karmic witches, energy vampires, alpha draconians, reptilians, people who hid behind the blood of Jesus, and Jesus was a human. He was a shaman, a mystic, and a healer like you and me. Okay, to the point where the crucifixion story was put into humans to make humans fear their own power, to the point where they don't even state about Adam's first wife, who was made equal from the clay of the earth like Adam. Her name was Lilith. Lilith was never mentioned in the book of Genesis in the Bible, which they say the apostles wrote, which they say was the word of God. But okay, so the same Christian witches who were attacking me and my kids and calling false DCF reports and making up lies saying I was beating my kids, and I wasn't even doing anything like that. I was actually trying to protect them from a really bad energy vampire, alpha draconian, and they wanted me to go to work and pay them, and they wanted me to just control my life, and literally, like, they wanted my twin flame to leave me, and they did all these spells, and they really went extra miles, to the point where they had hit me in my health many times, my finances. They had split me and my twin flame apart. Their ill will wishes and their projections and their manipulations, for a long time, they thought that they really had this control and this power over me, to the point where I was like, okay, I was literally in a plaza. I had lived through burns. In the plaza, lived through burns from family members burning me. I had lived through and survived so much more attacks, to the point where I went through so many spiritual awakenings and spiritual warrior callings and more ego deaths. And then I went into my shadow, and then these fallen angels were appearing to me, and they were literally making me disciplined. And they were like, no, we are not demons. We're not like what Hollywood shows you in The Exorcist, where her head spins around and her tongue pops out and her eyes are... and she vomits. No, the fallen angels were actually ancient gods who actually wanted you to stand in your power and live the life of your dreams. They didn't, everything that the Bible says about demons, they've been demonized, to the point where Lucifer was the morning star. He was the light bearer. He was the rank of the seraphim angels over the archangels. He was over Michael and Raphael. He was God's right-hand man. He was God's favorite son, to the point where he was a musical angel, a fire angel, and he had archangel abilities, because there's different ranks of angelics in the heavens. And so when Lucifer was like, Father God, like, I want to be revered for my powers, God was like, I'm a jealous God. So then this is where the fallen angel, which I feel like is very harsh because that was his son, and he burned his son's wings and made him fall and have this tremendous treacherous, traumatic experience to where like he fell from heaven, and then the other angels who listened to Lucifer, who wanted to stand in their truth and be revered for the gods and the talents and the powers that they had and the gifts they had that they wanted to project onto humankind, so we wouldn't have to live in the matrix and fold and swallow our inner power to work under a boss, or just to dim our lights and be someone else that we weren't. They wanted us to be meant for greatness, and they wanted us to succeed, and they wanted us to glow and shine and stand in our truth, our power, and our divine birthrights. But God was a fucking selfish God, and he was like, okay, no, fucking I'm the only God. I'm jealous. Now I don't like that you came up on me, so anyone who listened to my son Lucifer, I'm going to cast into the pit too, and I'm going to burn his wings down. And this was literally the fall from heaven was huge, okay? The fallen angels, they're traumatized by their father, and to the point where it happened to me, to the point where I got exiled from my father's house because of certain family members. And it wasn't my father, because he was passed away. He actually wanted me and my kids. His spirit wanted us to be here, but it was that darker spirit who had came and invaded this land years ago from somebody who brought him into the house, to the point where now I'm back in the house. But the thing is that the hatred and the animosity, it's so thick, it could like cut it with a knife. Like, it's just so thick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you feel like there's just so much talk about you, and they have like a negative connotation, or when they all sit down to dinner, they order fucking DoorDash or whatever, Uber Eats, and then you're not invited, and you're just like, okay. Or like, they try to fucking like act fake and like laugh all the time, and you're not included, and they really just try to go to great lengths to try to emotionally abuse you or make you feel like an emotional upset, so they could feed off that energy and make themselves feel better because of their internal wounding or their traumas, where they don't know how to heal from. So they project all this negative energy and this hatred onto you. So this is what the snake luckily is leaving. We're shedding, and the snakes are literally getting exposed by the fire horse. The horse is literally like, I'm not going to play. You're coming into your inner power. I'm calling you into your truth. So if you want to start that business, start it. If you were thinking about, going for an endeavor or investing your money and having to take a loan out of the bank, and it's something you've been putting off, but it's part of your divine life's purpose, or maybe you just keep getting signs of it. This is spirit, this is the divine telling you this is the year to make the change. Tomorrow is the very first day that the fire horse comes in. So the last remnants of the snake, we're shedding all of this heavy energy, this toxic turmoil, all these negative energy vampire archonic projections, their shadows, their darkness, their lies, the manipulations, their their crookedness, and just all of these fucking attacks, they're being fucking blown away. They're being cleared out. The fire horse is here, to the point where now it's up to us to take action, and we could be the true creators of our life, and we can live in our divine truth. You're being asked to step into your power. You're being asked to step into your divinity and to call your goddess birthright, your God birthright, your truth and your power back to you. So this is what we do, okay, as divine beings, sovereign beings. We're going to call our sovereignty back to us that was wrongfully taken and destiny swapped. They had no right to fucking destiny swap you. They had no right to feed off your energy. They had no right to come in and try to control the way your soulmate or your divine lover or, your wife or your husband, how they saw you. And they did. They fucking thought that since, they had the power in the blood of Jesus, that they thought that they were so strong that they could just try to fuck with you. And they try to destiny swap you and take away what was in your divine goddess birthright or God birthright destiny. So now we're going to call all of this back to us. So this is what we're going to say. We're going to hold a crystal in our hands, and I like to use my tangerine aura, and then something's telling me to use my tiger's iron. Now say this out loud. If you have a crystal, I invite you to hold this. I call all of my divine goddess, God, birthright back to me that was stolen from me, from darker entities, darker beings, energy vampires, archon reptilians, and alpha draconians, back to me through all times of space, all dimensions, all astral planes, all timelines, all past lives, this current life. I call my power, my divine God, goddess, birthright back to me. I call my energy that was stolen and taken and siphoned from me back into my soul. I call pieces and the fragmented pieces that energy vampires stole from me back into my soul. I call myself back to myself. I am powerful. I am free. My energy is fortified. I am protected. 3 times 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. So this is what we have to do. We have to be sovereign, and we have to call our power back to us. So I'm going to do some crystal tapping on this beautiful starseed quartz. It's a spirit quartz. Okay? And I want you to remember that you are the medicine. You are the love. You are the truth. You've called your power back to you. And I kind of want to push your power into you. And I want to use the rune Rado as well. So this is a carnelian. It's very, very important. We are going to push your power back into you with this, as well as with my baby tangerine aura. It's the baby of the big tangerine aura that I just used to call your power back to you, that you guys just did that little exercise with me, but it was very profound. It wasn't little, it was a profound exercise. So now I'm going to push your energy into you, and I want you to take a deep breath as I push, but not right now, so just breathe normal. But as I push this into you, I want you to breathe in, and then I want you to mentally or out loud verbally state, I call my God, goddess, energy, birthright, and power back to me that was stolen across all realms, all lifetimes, and all dimensions. Okay, so let's do this one more time. I call all of my divine goddess, God, power, birthright that was stolen from me from energy vampires, spirit attachments, dark entities, reptilians, alpha draconians, back to me now, back to my soul. 3 times 3 times 3, as I will it, so mote it be. Exhale, and just breathe out now, and just breathe normal. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing with my huge citrine point and my tangerine aura quartz point. When I push this into you, I want you to inhale and breathe, and I want you to mentally state your own intentions of calling your power back to you. I'm not going to say it this time, but you're going to say it out loud or in your mind. Okay, so I hope that, you gained most of your power back to you. Now that we've called it back to you, I want to do some feather clearing for your aura, some feather fluffing. Remember, you are the light, you are the truth, and you are the medicine. And you have a choice of, are you going to stay prolonged, trapped in a toxic cycle? Or are you going to stand up, speak your truth, and then take action like the fire horse is asking you to do, and break those chains of that karmic conditioning and that cycle that you've been needing to get out of? You don't have to stay somewhere where there's negative energy. You don't need to. You can be free, and you can make your own life the way you desire it to be. So right now my house feels a lot more freer because the Nate Jacobs energy vampire is gone, and he's just got a very angry, sharp, heavy energy. But I love you guys. Until next time, you are the medicine, you are the light. Finally, we shed the year of the snake, you guys. I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Blessed be. And if you need any sessions, I do readings, I do past life readings, I do aura cleansing readings, I do private one-on-one energy healing Reiki sessions. I could do cutting cords, fluffing your aura. I could do crystal tapping, glass tapping, cutting with scissors, or my black tourmalines, or my smoky quartzes. I am a healer, and I'm a divine goddess incarnate. So I hope that you guys gained your power back and you learned a thing or two in the video. And I love you guys so much, and my spirit and my energy are with you.